So these days, privacy is a hot topic, especially as regards the internet and as regards like having so much of our lives lived online, and then who's allowed to see information, private information, and who isn't. To be honest, these days people kind of say everything on Facebook anyway, so I think whatever privacy that they thought they had, they haven't, because they've just told the world what they had for breakfast. But privacy is a big issue also as regards GDPR. In schools and in companies and in factories, all this information that exists about us, our bank details, health records, all these kind of things. Who has access to it, who doesn't, where are they stored and for how long? It's a big deal these days. The Lord in the gospel today blows GDPR out of the water. For there is nothing hidden, but it must be disclosed. Nothing kept secret except to be brought out into the light. And another kind of a thing which exists again in this whole kind of cyber world is what's known as one's browser history, right? So when you're looking on the internet, generally it keeps a list of the sites that you have visited, just in case you visit them again. It can load the site quicker because it's already been loaded before. We won't go into the technical details of why that works or how that works, but basically your computer keeps a list of the sites you have visited, okay? I have what's called accountability software on my computer, so the rector of my seminary gets a list of all the sites I visit. So if he sees that I'm visiting, cats on skateboards, or every now and again I just want to watch a building get demolished. You know what I mean? So you just watch a demolition video. But if I were to watch like 3 hours of demolition videos, my rector will get a list of demolition video number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 17, number 20. It's like 6 hours of demolition videos. What are you doing with your life? Okay, but I remember then we were preparing a slideshow for a group of young people, and we wanted to make a game, basically. So we needed a picture of something very hot and something very cold. So then they did a Google search for hot pictures. Enter. On my computer, okay, and as soon as I hit enter, I think I may have positively dived across the room and hit no, pull the plug. So anyway, then the director just goes, hot pictures? What were you looking for? And I said, I didn't know. The sisters were just like, So our browser history, privacy, and all these kind of things. Okay, the Lord is saying to us something very, very blunt, right? There is nothing hidden, but it won't be disclosed. So, okay, we're entitled to a certain amount of privacy, absolutely. But ultimately, we are responsible for what we do. And whether people see it or not, God sees what we do. Now, this works both ways, in the sense that if, for example, you are the husband or a wife of a very contrary or very difficult or maybe even addicted husband or wife, and you stick with them and you help them through it and you support them and you love them through it, and no one sees any of this. No one sees it, because it all happens within the four walls of a house. And sure, even a family that might look perfect exteriorly might have all sorts of problems going on inside the four walls. No one knows. People don't know. But God does. God does. And even on the outside, things may look the opposite to what they truly are. It might look like there's a really honourable husband or a really honourable wife here, when actually they're being unfaithful, and actually they're embezzling money, and actually they're not really a good parent at all. But the parish, the community think they're wonderful. But you can't fool God. So ultimately, we are responsible for what we do. And while this isn't a threat to anyone, maybe it's just this evil streak in me, but there is justice ultimately, in the sense that I can't necessarily go in and because I'm aware of situations where there's serious issues, serious problems in families, and it's very clear who the issue is, or at least what actions they're doing that are way out of line. It's just plain obvious. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to work this one out. But I can't fix it. I can't just walk in with a sledge and just I can't resolve the situation peacefully as one would like to, because it's not I can't. It's just it's not within my ability, faculty, and even if I could, 9 Not every problem is fixed by slapping people around the place. It doesn't work that way. It's the change of hearts that we're aiming for. That's what matters. And I can't necessarily do that either, You can't just kind of tell a person the truth and suddenly they go, oh, okay, so I shouldn't be unfaithful to my wife. I didn't know. I won't do that again. Yeah, it's not always that easy. But ultimately, God does know, and ultimately, we are responsible to him. And I say it works both ways. For all the good things, all the hidden good things that we have done, he sees those. All of the hidden not so good things, he sees those too. Now again, he's not up there as a judge with a big book and a pen. He's writing away at all these tut-tut-tuts, all these situations where we fell short of the mark. He is a loving father. But we do have to kind of, along with that understanding of God, we do have to keep in mind that there is justice as well. So it's not kind of all one or the other. We don't want to kind of get back to this idea that God is, cruel and punishing and almost like a paparazzi in the bush out there somewhere watching everything we do, waiting for us to fall. That's not God. That is not God. But at the same time, I am responsible for the choices I make. I am responsible for what I do. I am responsible for how I treat people. That's all within my power to control. And I'm responsible for it. If anyone has ears to hear, let him listen to this. The Lord is trying to drive that message home. There is nothing hidden, but it must be disclosed. Nothing kept secret, except to be brought out into the light. Just one word on the last line here. The amount you measure out is the amount you will be given, and more besides. For the man who has will be given more. The man who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Okay, this line is it's the complete opposite to what we've heard elsewhere in the gospel, where he who has not will be given, from he who has will be taken away. So this is the opposite of that line. So what does that mean? Okay, what it means is, basically, the man who has will be given more. In our lives, the more we love, the more we're capable of loving. So the more we practice love, the more I'm capable of loving. So our ability to love can grow continuously. So the more love I have, if you will, in my heart, the more I use that and give, if you will, give that away. The more I give that love away, the more of it I receive. Whereas if I have this limited capacity to love and I choose not to love, then even what I have is taken away. That little ability I had to love, it wilts if I don't give it. If I don't love those who the Lord calls me to love in my family, community, parish, whatever the situation is, if I choose not to love, if I choose to close that heart down and put a block wall around it and line it with lead and steel, then that love will die. And then life just becomes very, very empty. Even what I thought I had is now gone. Whereas if I love with my limited ability to love, the more I love, then the more I'm able to love. And that's why when you meet some people, especially in caring professions, who spend their days loving people and caring for people, you just meet them and they're just like, you just want to hug them and you just want to absorb, if you will, some of that love from them, because they just radiate this loving presence. So the more we have, the more we're given. But if we don't use the little we have, even what we thought we had is taken away. Or it wilts, it dies. So, the two messages then from today's gospel. Everything we do, good and bad, everything we do is seen by God. And this ultimately should be for us a good thing, because it means all of the hidden prayers, all of the hidden tears, all those hidden occasions where you just find yourself sitting on the floor, staring down at the ground going, my goodness, what is after happening? All those occasions when we turn to the Lord, every one of them are seen by God. And it also means then that when I choose, with my limited ability to love, the Lord can increase and increase and increase that ability, so that we can become a fountain of life and love and healing to those around us. So we ask the Lord today to bless and guide each one of us, that we might become the lamps, that we might become these sources of love that the Lord is calling us to be. Amen.